not so much. But there's definitely something coming. Can you feel it? In the last 6 months alone, we had this big boom of technology, from ChatGPT to Stable Diffusion, Dream AI, and about 100 other things. However, all these big leaps forward made me wonder, could AI animate? I mean, traditionally animate, with all 12 principles, animate in 3D and 2D. And my first thoughts of this topic were, yeah, probably, maybe. The more I looked into it, the more questions I had. So, as an average animator who's overweight, has bags under his eyes, and is addicted to caffeine, I decided to try to find out. With a basic knowledge of AI, I wanted to talk to people in the field of animation and get to know what people thought and what they believe could happen in the near future. Then, talk to some experts in AI and see if these concerns or theories had any validity to them. My name is Alex. Plant your assets in front of your screen, turn those ears on, and let's find out. Is this the boogeyman crawling up our beds, or just Sully trying to say hi? Is this a strange monolith towering before us, or a new tool to bring about human revolution? Is this a friend or a foe? Is it Judgment Day, or did we just fall asleep in front of the TV again? I don't know. But let's find out together in Animator versus the Machine.
Commencing. Begin.
Oh, today we got Rodrigo Broga, or Rod, as he likes to be known. Hi, Rod. Introduce everyone to yourself.
Hi, Alex. Nice to meet you, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So tell everyone a little bit about yourself. Like, what do you do?
So yeah, I'm a technical 3D animator. So I'm working for a company called Sonodyne that specializes in sound engineering for subwater or subaquatic technology. So I've been working there for the last 2 years. But I started as a traditional 3D animator back in 2009, if I'm not wrong. So I've been jumping around as a motion graphic artist, 3D animation, visual artist, real-time engine as well. So I jump a little bit of game technology like Unreal, Unity, this kind of stuff. So yeah, I've been jumping loads of company. Now the latest job that I've been working on is a Sonodyne, that is an engineering company.
Cool. So for other Phantom listeners out there who might be animators, what is the difference between technical animation and, say, cartoon animation?
Well, we can talk about the difference between 3D and 2D traditional animation. So yeah, 2D animation is what you see on the classics of Disney, like Fantasia, or I don't know, remember the classic Disney stuff. And then it's still there, so we still have some loads of talented people that still focus on 2D animation and do beautiful stuff. I think back on 2000s, did you hear that? The 3D technologies start to take over of the animation universe, so loads of artists came from there. So I believe I started being interested in 3D animation when I saw, you probably remember that when you watch the Jurassic Park and you see this gigantic monster on
T-Rex,
screen. And you say, oh, how they do that? So yeah, it's a mix of loads of practical stuff and 3D stuff. I say, well, how do they do that? And then I learned a little bit, and that's why I decided to jump on the 3D animation stuff and the visual effects as well. Yeah, that's the difference. The difference is using technology to create animation. Doesn't mean that 2D traditional doesn't use it, but it's more pen in the hands and doing stuff manually instead of just moving camera, moving characters and everything.
Okay, cool. So the reason we're talking today is because you've actually used AI as an experiment, correct?
I did.
So tell us about it.
Yeah, I start to heard about AI because of the fear mongering among artists right now. So, we're going to lose our jobs. Oh my God. And I said, let me see what it's about. And I dig a little bit. And obviously I end up on Midjourney. That's the most common AI tool that most people use it. I saw amazing image generate from there. And I start to talk with my fellow artists. What is it about? What is it about? Oh man, it's crazy. They never tell me, hey, look, this is what it's about. They just explain their fear about what's gonna happen in the future. And I start digging myself. Um, and I end up experimenting Midjourney first. I didn't like the Midjourney because it's a great tool. I think they're going to work on that, but it seems like you not put a hands on anything. You just put some
Right.
words and boom, something happened.
Yeah.
And that changed since then. But in other tools, the conversation was altering about what to generate on AI. Have some people doing make a lot of money on AI using Midjourney. They
Mhm.
selling printings on the internet and take ownership of everything that they're doing. But I understand that is a feed for a massive data that we feed from image or internet. And it was
Mhm.
scary once when I tried Midjourney as well. I saw like a watermark print in there from Shutterstock. Was
Yeah.
smudged, but you noticeably see there was Shutterstock image in there.
You can still make it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I say that's not for me, and I drop Midjourney for a while, and I obviously experiment with ChatGPT to create some scripts and everything, and then I discover another tools that actually put a hands on something. So you need to feed with your own stuff to create something. One of them is a Kaiber. So essentially,
Okay.
you can film everything that you want. You can you create your own content, and you feed this machine to stylize for you. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
uh, and I love that because you can actually direct what you want to see before you
Right.
upload it and decide what style you're going for. I think that's a tool for me. That's more interesting to me because I can. It's like I remember the conversation back in the days was traditional artists say, "Oh my God, this guy's cheating because he used a 3D to create perspective."
Mm.
Yeah, but the art is there.
Yeah.
It's not just about the tool; it's about the guy have skills to mix that up. I think art is
Yeah.
about mix that up, and that's what I'm looking for: a tool that I can mix my skills with technology. That's it.
Right. Because even people I've talked to, they have the same fear, like, "Oh, AI is going to take us over, or they're going to take our jobs and all this." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's the
it's
fear
just like
mongering.
yeah, it's the same thing like you're saying. Like the guy who used a 3D asset to get his perspective. It's just like it's just using a tool to make things faster. Because time
That's
is
where I see
money.
it.
At the end of the day.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
where I see it. I see it as a tool. I see a potential tool. Obviously, it has a lot of talk of legislation about how we're going to use it, responsibility, ownership, altering. Has a loads of talk, but we put the wall of fear in front of us and not talking
Hmm.
about it is not going to take it anywhere. And that's how I
Right.
felt from my fellow artists. They don't want to
Hmm.
talk about it, just push that away. But it's
Yeah.
a wave. You're not going to stop a wave. They come in anyway. So it's better to
Yeah.
talk right now than later.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't ignore it. It's gonna happen. So
It's
might
going to
as well
happen.
learn about it and figure it
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
And
So
it
the
took by
thing that you
surprise.
showed me, really? Oh, talk
It
about
took
it.
by,
See?
took by surprise. I was surprised because everybody say that it's a big deal was the metaverse. You remember that? Everybody talk about
Yeah,
metaverse.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
metaverse is going to be the future. But actually, this came from nothing. It just, hey, EI is there. And
yeah,
metaverse just kind of disappearing now. So,
yeah. It was like so. The metaverse was like Google Glass when it first came out. You're like, oh my god, Google Glass is gonna be a thing, and then it just
yeah,
nothing happened.
no,
The
nothing happened.
metaverse, same thing. And
Same
you're like,
thing. Fade
okay, but
away.
not, but AI right now. I'm like, oh, this looks like it's gonna
Yeah.
here to stay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the thing you showed me, how did you do that? Was that through Stable
So,
Diffusion or Kaiber
no, that's
or
the.
whatever it was?
I heard that I heard that Stable Diffusion is capable to do video as well, but I found the pipeline is a bit more complicated. So Kyber is literally you film something, or you can download a footage that you want, upload it, create your prompt, um,
Yeah.
and then you can mix around because sometimes you get stuck. What a prompt and go how to feed how good my prompt could be to feed this machine.
Yeah.
and has another tool that I use a lot called Prompt Hero. So essentially, it
Okay.
has loads of options of prompts, how you can combine and how some artists combine prompts to get a certain results. And it's a great tool. And actually, you can use ChatGPT as well to create a prompt for you if you get stuck.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, you can ask ChatGPT to create a prompt for you if you get stuck in your mind and I don't know exactly what you want. Um, ChatGPT could help with that. So that's what I did. I just create one shot. I film a guy, and I want this like magical, stylized, ultra realistic or hyper realistic galaxy
Mm-hmm.
born from this guy on the background. Um, and boom, I just press a button, wait. Literally that.
Huh.
Depends. They use the power of your machine, so it depends of how powerful your machine is. But my machine
Right.
is fairly beefy, so was quite
Yeah.
took me about 10, 15 minutes to generate that shot. And
Wow.
I think is a great tool, and I'm going to use it in the future as
Yeah.
well.
So then, did you have to personally go in and touch some things up, or was it like 15 minutes and then it's
Sometimes
done?
sometimes you don't like the look, so you can, oh, let me change the prompt a little bit, or you can change an option because like it give you like three or two options, what
Okay.
kind of how they looks like in the future. Give it like a little frames, not the full video, not a preview, but give a few frames how they're going to look, and you can pick one, or you can go on the prompt again and work on your prompt and generate again from that. Yeah, and generating, going to stage off, generate the frames again. And if you like how they
Yeah.
look, you proceed to the final render.
Oh.
Yeah,
So does
I'll
it
send you a
render
link.
out as a? Yeah, yeah, for sure. Does it render
I'll
out
send you a
as
link.
like as a movie file, or is it like a like TIFFs or
They give a,
Targas or?
they give a 4K movie file. They give a 4K
Okay.
movie file. Yeah, yeah. The capability is max 4K. No, no,
Oh
no.
wow.
It's the one you got. Unless you want to do something else in composite, that's a great thing. You can mix it up with traditional stuff, like you go on After Effects and add more stuff in
Yeah,
there. That's a fantastic thing. You can
that's
mix it
actually really
up
cool. Yeah.
effects. Yeah.
Hmm. So, with playing around with it, can you see it possibly being used somewhere in an animation pipeline, or is it just too experimental right now?
Well, I I discovered yesterday. You remember the video that I sent you, a guy walking around and changed the shot just when he
Yeah.
clicked the finger, just
Yeah. Yeah.
so I figured out which tool this guy uses. It's a tool called
Oh, okay.
the tool called Runway. So
Runaway.
I
Okay.
haven't chance. Yeah, I haven't chance to use it because you need to pay for it. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's not that bad. It's about the same price that I use on Kaiber. I'm probably going to experiment that afterwards. But essentially,
Yeah.
you pick a style. Like imagine
Okay.
you wanna you pick a frame like a Pixar frame, and you
Yeah.
film yourself walking around in your home doing your daily stuff, and you choose, okay, I want this replicate by this frame. So they're gonna literally apply the style that the frame that you choose on your footage.
Hmm.
So imagine if you want a Johnny Bravo kind of style cartoon, and you're going to
Yeah.
walking around and you have a film of you walking around in your home, and you're going to convert that you as a Johnny Bravo kind of stuff, and it's great. It
Huh.
looks great. So I think that's the guy that sent you the video. That's what he do. They use this
That's pretty
runway
cool.
thing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they have other tools as well. It's like frame interpolation. Um they have like a infinite image tool that essentially, if you
Hmm.
imagine if you have like a flower, right? You have an image, you took a picture of a flower, but you have a more context around, and he
Okay.
generate the context for you. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Imagine if you have like a picture of, you take like a close up of a flower,
Yeah.
and you want context, and
Okay.
this tool generate context for you. They generate like a wall here, a person there,
Yeah.
or a guard in the background. They generate that for you.
Huh.
That's to do that in a Photoshop. How long gonna take?
Yeah. It's gonna take a while.
It's just
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
it's so
I
many
don't
tools
like.
popping out. I've been thinking
Yeah.
about, and so many tools doing different things. And like I say, this is a wave. It's not going to stop.
No, it's just gonna get more and more refined
Yeah.
as it goes further.
Yeah.
So then, my question is, with this new form of, with this AI that you can like, film live action footage and interpolate a style over top of your footage,
Mm-hmm.
is this, would this be like, it's not quite animation, like not by the
No,
traditional
no, it's
sense.
not. It's not in a traditional sense. What you could do, is animate yourself. You can create, like, if you have a rig of character, or if you have animation that you did, you can render that out
Mm-hmm.
and restylize. Use these tools,
Right.
because if you remember, it's like I'm watching the other day, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Fantastic
Yeah.
film. So
That's what I keep
stylized.
hearing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so many details in there. So, and it took years, because they paint over frames. Like the depth of field, it's not, the background is not blurry. They actually paint the background to be blurred, to look like
Oh,
blurred.
interesting.
Um, so it's all hand work in there, and took
Right.
years and years to do that. Imagine if you
Yeah.
can upload your animation and apply. Okay, I want this animation looks like a Spider-Man look,
Mm-hmm.
and boom, you have it. So
It's pretty cool.
maybe it's not going to be like, or the next year is going to be production, um, uh, production level, but maybe 3 4 years, maybe that. I just want a style, Pixar style, and you upload your animation, and boom, you have Pixar style.
Sure.
You know.
Hmm. The only concern I see with that is that you might have, like you have this like huge wave of just clones of like, all right, everyone's gonna, let's all do Pixar style. And it's like this just massive wave of everyone doing the same thing, and you're like, oh crap. You know what
But
I mean? They're like,
again,
oh no,
but the only
yeah, go
option
ahead.
to stand out, is create something different of the wave, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I think that's why Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse stand out, because they didn't follow the superhero thing that everybody's follow, or no animation style that everybody's follow. Um, I know personally some people that work on Spider-Man to Spider-Verse, and they look as they what they're looking for is differentiation, or something out the box that you haven't seen around. Um, I think these tools, AI tools, you need to find your own way to stand out. Essentially, obviously it's gonna have a wave of. It's like when Midjourney came out, loads of people put a print out there and overuse Midjourney, but
Sure.
you need to find your way to differentiate from this and stand out.
Right. There's always gonna be people that like misuse the new technology or use it for, the quickest path to success or whatever it is. And there's always
Exactly.
gonna be clones, but
I know.
yeah, it's,
Obviously.
it's never
Obviously.
yeah, it's never gonna stop it.
Yeah.
So, but by using this tech, have you found, what's some cool things you've learned, or any drawbacks to using this type of software that you found? Like, is there any limitations? Like,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
So the limitation is control, I think. So
Okay.
uh, is what you see is what you got. So there's no control on the tools itself. It's like,
Right.
one thing that I struggle with is keep faces intact. I think the Kaiber did a pretty good job on the footage that I did to keep the face without recognizable, still recognize the faces in there, because sometimes it's melt, sometimes the eyes change or shift, or always
Yeah.
struggle like this. Um, but actually, it could be a style. It's like,
Sure.
if you watch it now, it's another fear mongering or cancellation thing
Mhm.
wave on internet, is the latest Marvel show, Secret Invasion.
Oh, Secret Invasion. Yeah, yeah. I was about to talk about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
with
so
the title sequence.
the title
Yeah.
sequence, it completely create and generate AI. So an artist straight
Yeah.
away go, oh, cancel the show for. Come on, chill a little
Yeah.
bit. Maybe it's a
Yeah.
decision. People say, oh, he's ugly. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. Maybe it's a decision
Yeah.
to make
Well,
that ugly.
Well, I read an article with the director of the studio was talking about it. He was like, "Yeah, like we got direction, being like we wanted to try out the AI software because it was new. It was like just came out, and they hired a broker. And they gave him keywords, and they like typed it in prompts, and they're like, oh, it's kind of cool how it's like shape shifts, kind of like how the scrolls shape shift, and it's like, oh, it's kind of neat. And they're like, oh, this fits with the theme of the show, and then everyone's
It
like, ah,
is.
cancel it because it's all AI. Yeah, and it's like, no, that works for what it needs to work, what it needs to do. It's
Exactly.
supposed to be like this
Exactly.
weird abstract, like you don't know who's what or what it is. What are you looking at, really?
And to be
It
fair,
almost looks human.
I watched it and I enjoyed it. I watched the open title. I haven't
Yeah,
watched the show yet,
yeah,
but looks great.
yeah.
And
Like when I watched I watched the show, and I was like, oh, yeah, this fits really well. I have
and
no problem with it.
100% sure the pipeline was like the Kaiber pipeline. So you film your own stuff. You have a direction up behind that. You have a script. You have the entire pipeline. And in the end, I want this kind of style. You upload your footage and put your prompt in that, and you have it.
Yeah. So then, the question I've been talking to other animators about when I mentioned like Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, all that stuff, like, oh, we don't have to worry because you can't draw hands. Do you think it'll solve that problem anytime soon?
Yeah, I think I watched a podcast this morning with
Mm-hmm.
the ChatGPT guy,
Okay.
the head of ChatGPT. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
He was talking about back then how poor ChatGPT deal with stuff, and now the difference.
Sure.
I think all tools is going to evolve. I remember the first version of Photoshop. I prefer to use the native Paint that came on Windows,
Yeah.
then use Photoshop
Yeah.
or CorelDRAW. So everything's evolved. I think these tools is going to handle much better, and it's going to give you like a direction of what you want to do. Obviously, is probably going to take a while, or probably it's not going to take that while. Probably it's going to be next year.
No.
You know.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I've been telling people. It's just like this is just Gen 1 of the public consumption of this thing. Once it's the Gen 2, they're like, oh, it's hands, no problem.
Yeah, and we're talking about the aspects of AI using art, right? Has so many other aspects to explore.
Oh, sure.
And if in security legislation, democracy, everything, so we need a long talk. So if you push that away, you're not going to be part of it. So I prefer to be part of the conversation than put a wall and say, no, I don't want this. This is going to take my job.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Don't let the fear.
I don't want to
stop you from learning something.
Yeah. Don't let the fear interfere. That's it. People say.
Yeah. So, as a one last thing, what's something you recommend animators should take away from AI? Like, what should they look at AI and learn from it, if anything?
Well, I can say on the perspective of 3D animator, so has loads of tools. So ChatGPT, for instance, because every 3D animator know how hard it is to learn like a language, like a Python or MyScript or anything. And this is in the power of your hands. Just go on ChatGPT, ask for write a script in Python for you. If you don't have a time to learn Python yourself. I didn't say, hey, please don't need to learn Python anymore because ChatGPT is going to do it for you. I didn't say that. It's good to have the basis, but to write the script for you, to create tools for you, is a great opportunity. Experiment as well. Create your own renders of your own animation. Upload your footage on Stable Diffusion or the Kaiber tool that I mentioned here. Try to get different styles. Maybe you have fun. For now, have fun.
Yeah.
That's the most important part. It's not, you're not going to sell the work because it's not production ready yet, but it's a great place for you to have fun, enjoy what you're doing, experiment. That's what I say to animators.
Yeah, just experiment with it. Don't be afraid of it.
Experiment and have fun. That's it.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to me, Rod.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Alex. Anytime.
Well, that's it. I want to thank our guests for contributing on our journey so far, and I want to thank you, the Phantom listeners, for hearing us ramble around the water cooler. Come check in next time as we talk more about the subject of AI in the animation industry. Let's find out together. Don't forget, keep your eyes on the horizon.
Goodbye. The boarding transmission.